2, 1.
Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Templeton Advisory Committee to order.
You need a copy of it, like I have an old, and an old agenda, please.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call the meeting of the Templeton Advisory Committee to order, it being 6:30. The Templeton Advisory Committee regular business is being broadcast live on TCTV Channel 8 and the TCTV YouTube channel. Responses will be made to comments in the TCTV YouTube channel as time permits. The agenda and meeting materials for this business meeting were posted to mytowngovernment.org/01468 no later than 48 hours prior to the scheduled meeting, in accordance with Commonwealth of Massachusetts open meeting laws. The chair reserves the right to add items to, remove items from, or change the order of the agenda. However, the agenda is posted in advance to give the committee and public time to review the agenda items and to ensure that the meeting runs within the allotted time frame. At this time, if we could all rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the time during the meeting where members of the public have a chance to offer comments. Bev, you have comments that you wish to offer as a member of the public?
As a member of the public, I get up and move, but it's easier here. Everyone should know that the town has been looking for a town administrator, and a lot of work's been put in by a lot of people. And I'm pleased to know that things are moving along real well. The group that got together to pick the applicants, the best applicants, deserves a lot of work, a lot of applause, a lot of thank you, because they did it in record time. And Mr. Toth and Mr. May have spent their own time working with this man to work out the fine details, and it looks like things are going to work out for the best. We have needed leadership in this town so badly. This is the best thing I've seen happen in a long, long time. And I'm just telling them thank you. And if you see them, you thank them too, because they're working for you. We're all working for you. We're going to have a dynamite group. So I'm really happy. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bev.
Yeah.
I would just like to add one item as well. April was our
I don't want to start a shite so bad it blinds me.
April was the advisory member
Yeah.
to the town administrator selection committee, and she also was the chair
Yeah.
of the
Did a super
committee.
job.
And I must echo what Bev said. The committee moved forward very quickly, and that we have a candidate, and apparently we're very close to finalizing the details of the contract.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the best thing I've heard in a lot of years. It's going to make our town run so much smoother, and it'll be easier for everybody that works here too. Okay.
And to add to that, thank you to Jackie Prime for
Yeah.
volunteering her time as
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
That's
Aha.
right. Yeah, Jackie was on the committee as well.
Yeah.
So.
See, there are people that are pitching in and working. We're all rowing the same way.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job with the candidates. Thank you.
Yeah,
Are there any further public
No.
comments?
not for me.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
gonna shut up for the rest of the night.
I would at this time, I apologize for shuffling through my papers at the beginning. To,
I'm gonna take the old agenda back, so you're not mixed up.
yes,
Okay.
yes, I get mixed up easily. Okay, at this time, the next item on the agenda under old business is approval of the July 24th, 2025 minutes. I know I've had a chance to read through them as well as the other minutes online. Has everybody had a chance
Yep.
to
Yes.
opportunity to
Yeah.
review the minutes? Is there any discussion or amendments that need to be made?
We're going to do this, vote on them one at a time? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
All right, there being no discussion, I would like to entertain a motion and a second on the July 24th, 2025 minutes.
I move that we approve the July 24th, 2025 minutes as submitted.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, at this time, I'd like to have a roll call vote. Bev?
Yes,
April?
Yes.
Jacqueline?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and I also vote yes. And the next set of minutes would be the approval of the July 30th, 2025 minutes. And at this time, is there any comment on those minutes?
Are you talking the executive session?
It was the
Oh,
joint.
I'm sorry, the joint?
The joint.
Okay,
To appoint the town administrator selection committee.
okay. I'll make a motion to,
Is there any
Oh.
discussion?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the joint select board meeting minutes for July 30th, 2025.
do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, there being no further discussion, I will call the roll. Bev?
I wasn't on the board at that time.
Okay, do you wish to vote present?
Present, yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
April? Jacqueline?
Yes.
Yes.
And I also vote yes. There'll be 4 yes, 1 present.
I was on Zoom via that, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everybody else was here live,
Yeah.
like sitting there.
Yeah.
Okay. And the July 31st, 2025 minutes. Is there any discussion on that set of minutes?
No,
Jacqueline, you all set?
Yeah, good.
And Bev, you all set?
yes,
Okay.
I'll move that we accept the July 31st, 2025 meeting minutes as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, I'll call the roll. Bev,
yes.
April,
Yes.
Jacqueline,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Thank you. And that brings us to the final set of minutes, which would be our last meeting held on August 21st, 2025. Are there any questions or comments regarding the August 21st minutes?
I do have a comment.
Okay,
I just wanted to let everybody know that I am going to be following through with the credit card inquiry. I will be sending out an email to all of the department heads asking what they have for a credit card and if they have a specific policy for their department.
Good idea.
Okay.
and I did list that on the agenda for tonight's meeting. as
Oh, it
well.
is on the agenda
Yeah.
for tonight? Oh, okay.
So you'll have a
My
chance.
apologies.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll have a chance of, for further discussion.
Oh, that was the freeze. You did both?
Yeah, I did both.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I did. All right, any further comments or discussion
Nope.
concerning the August 21st minutes? Okay, this time I'll entertain a motion to accept approve the August 21st, 2025 minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for August 21st,
Okay,
2025.
thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by April. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call the roll on this. Bev?
Yes,
Yes.
April? Jacqueline?
Yes.
Liz? And I also vote yes. All right, thank you all very much. At this time, what I would like to do is, we have two department heads present tonight. And I would like, to, have them, come, forward first because they work a full day and, they're here kind of on their own, time in the evening. And I really appreciate both of you coming here tonight. So I first would like to call on, Jackie Prime, if you could. And what I have, I have this, to help you. You. So I'd just like to, before I turn the floor over to Jackie, is just a little bit of a background. One of the things that I have noticed in the time that I've been on advisory is that the senior services, in particular, the funding is a patchwork. And also, we have a senior center director who at present, I believe, works 22 hours a week. And there's challenges with retaining that position. There has been over the years, and the position probably should be, well, I feel it definitely should be full-time, but it's very difficult to arrive at that, given the funding situation of the town. I I have had conversations with Jackie, and I asked her about a month ago if she would consider the possibility of asking the legislature for an earmark. And the reason why I did that is the Representative Jonathan Zlotnick, our state rep, he represents 3 towns. It's a pretty compact district, and he probably has about $500,000 in earmarks that he can secure each year. And he represents Winchendon and Ashburnham and Templeton. And I think he represents a slice of Gardner as well. So there is the potential of earmark money, but there's only so many bullets in the chamber, so to speak. And I asked Jackie if she would come in, to explain her proposal for an earmark, which she will do in some detail. And I just want, I believe if we don't ask, we don't get. I do, in being realistic, I think the chances of securing an earmark are not that great. But as I said, if we don't ask, we don't get. And I think that the dollar amounts that Jackie is asking for is in line with earmark requests that have been granted over the years. I think in the wheelhouse of Representative Zlotnick is requests that are between $50,000 and $125,000. So, not great, kind of short money requests. And so I think he does have a chance to secure that from the leadership of the legislature. And also being a smaller request, every year such earmark requests have to survive the meat cleaver, so to speak, of the governor, what are called 9C cuts. So, the governor really has the last say on these things. So we could obtain an earmark and the governor could just decide that not really an appropriate funding, and it would just be cut out. So that's a little bit of the background. And so Jackie, if you'd like to, elaborate on the earmark request, I
Sure.
appreciate that.
Thank you. I wasn't really aware of the option of an earmark, but I appreciate you bringing it up as a sort of a bit of a solution to what I see as a concerning budget for a very, very busy department. And just to correct you, the manager's position remained in fiscal year 26 at 19.5 hours a week. So she's at 19.5 hours. We did manage to give her a little bit more of an hourly rate. But right now,
I remember discussing that.
yes.
last year.
Yeah, so I kind of tried to break it down because I'm trying to demonstrate that I feel like this department is doing as much as it can possibly do to, offer the formula grant to fund an entire position. And even though that's an allowable expense by that grant, it's not probably something that many senior centers do, because that money can be allocated for other things. That money could have been allocated for the carport, but it's being drawn from every week or every 2 weeks to pay this employee. That because her pay is not coming out of the general fund. I am proposing an earmark for some floating hours. In prior years' budgets. We had up to 175 floating hours approved for our budget. And those were hours that could be shared among the staff, and they were, it was well served, because try to imagine the center's open 22 hours a week. So try to imagine being the manager of a department, which Ryan Brown is. And doesn't have the weekly hours allocated to her to even be present in the building for every open hour. Never mind all of the other work that she's responsible for that takes her away from the daily happenings at the center. That's tough. That's not an easy thing to accomplish. And so I would like to see earmark that includes those floating hours, which at 175 hours at $19 an hour, which is, it's kind of an average of what folks make over there. That would be $3,325. And then the carport, again, this was something we really had hoped the formula grant could take care of, but it would just be cutting it too close to allocate that money for the carport, which the estimate for the, the model that has the size, because right now our vehicles are primarily driven by retired gentlemen. They're wonderful people, but they are 100% responsible for shoveling those vehicles out when we get a storm, and that's a lot to ask. And not only that, but some of the vehicles are higher. They're sort of bus van vehicles, and as you know, the snow has to be cleared off the top. So our driver has to shovel the vehicle out, drive it over to a section of the building where there's a kind of a little bit of a elevated walkway and stairs, like fire escape stairs. And he has to lean over the walkway and shovel the top of the vehicle off with this giant snow broom, which I think that's a lot to ask for somebody to do. So the carport that Bob Sozik helped us to price out, that has the top and the sides, this was back in March, was $37,600. So yes, I can go to capital with that request, and I will.
Yep.
That will be my second year asking, although I did, in fairness, tell them that we were willing to use formula grant money when I thought we could do that. I'll go to capital again and request the carport, but you all know how many requests come into capital, and there's not, ever enough money to go around. So if we requested the floating hours and the vehicle carport, we're right around $41,000. And yeah,
You're expecting the earmark that's where you would expect the funds to come from, is from the earmark?
well, no, again, I will ask, I'll make a request to capital. If we don't get it from capital, then it's just another winter without a better option for those vehicles.
Did you only get this one quote?
We got two, but the other one was for,
I see it's the same company.
it was for the same company, but it was a different, it didn't have like the sides to the,
Just a cover.
Did you,
Right.
did you get quotes from another company?
we didn't, actually asked Bob to do this, so he kind of did it on the fly for me back in March. So we can, we can go out and look around if you think we might find a savings there.
I think you may. I don't think that it would hurt.
Right,
When we go, when we're asking for projects and bringing in different contractors and stuff, we do need to have multiple companies.
Yeah, well, I think when she gets it, when she figures out what she's doing.
Well, I only have two quotes.
Yeah, I know,
From
so
the
then
same
she'll
company.
get more.
right. I mean, I think, I don't know, so in answer to your question, the carport wouldn't happen. And the floating hours wouldn't happen, and the staff will just have to, make it work, which, I don't know if you read our weekly reports, but the center is, today's weekly report was, I think 216 folks coming through the door for programs, services, meals.
Amazing.
That's a lot of people. That is a lot of people.
I love the activities. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, and then with the kitchen, hopefully almost complete, I think it's just, it's just gonna get busier. So,
Well, with the economy and everything costing more. Because their income's not gonna go up,
right,
so yeah.
right. And Linda, Linda O'Reilly, our staff person who does outreach, she's the lady that's paid for by the formula grant. She is already out straight with fuel assistance applications and SNAP applications that she helps folks with. So there's, as Noel and I have discussed, there's a lot going on there. It's a little bit of everything. And again, the hours are, it really ties their hands.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and I have worked with the previous town administrator, I understand the budget challenges that the town faces. I'm not gonna sit here and say this is the most important department in the town,
Well.
but it is important. So,
So you're looking to have this done by 27 in the 27 budget?
I don't know what the earmark schedule is. Noel would probably know.
Follows the legislative schedule.
So,
And
It-
so
go ahead.
the legislative schedule is, the legislature finishes up their business by June 30th of next year. So we would not know whether the earmark will be awarded or not, more than likely until June 30th of next year. And also the legislature is chronically late and they go routinely into mid-July. So realistically, it may be July 15th, July 20th before we would know.
But that's one-time money.
That was my next.
It's
not-
one-time money, and that gets us into trouble all the time.
I'm glad you brought that up. We could ask for it to be more than one-time money. And I think that we should ask for monies over a 3-year period.
All that does is it kicks it down the road. It's still,
Yes, it
in
does.
essence, it's still, I mean, it's 3 times one-time money. It's still, it's not part of the,
Yes.
and literally all that does is then cause us a problem in 3 years.
I'm hoping, can I say something?
Yeah.
I am hoping with our new
I
administrator
was just gonna say this. Yeah.
and us working with him and the select board, I think he needs to sit down when he's more familiar with what we have and assess the whole town and make changes. Most of your old people, like me, have spent a whole lot of their life here. Paid a lot of taxes, never got a whole lot. I mean, I'm still paying for my light, street light. It's true though.
It is.
But, I think that once we have a good group and they can sit down and look at the budget, maybe it'll work, it'll look different. I'm hoping that. And then at the unknowns about what's happening with the state and the federal also bother me, because if we don't get money from them, we're up the creek, we've been up that creek too many times. So it's really hard to plan when
So-
things are so unknown.
I just like to add to what Bev said is, and you've heard me say this, I mean, the percentage of elderly in the town is in the high 20s, maybe 30%.
I think we're the biggest group right now.
It is the biggest group, and I mean, I'm in the group. And I think that there is a silent problem that is only going to get worse, where you have elderly people who own their homes and have not saved enough for retirement. And I think that there could very well be hundreds of houses like that. And these people are going to need more and more services as time goes by. And the reason why I've discussed this and I've asked Jackie to come tonight is I think it's a situation that's not going to go away, and that we as a town, really don't address all of the needs of our seniors.
No.
I really feel strongly about that, and I think you would agree with
And
that.
the elderly don't come to town meeting.
Right. I agree. I think it is something that definitely is needed. I support our elderly 100%. But in the same aspect, like Bev had said, we have a new TA coming in. I think earmarking it for 3 years would not be a bad thing. To pay out in a 3-year time frame. However, after he's been in his position for a certain amount of time, if he doesn't see it within the budget, unfortunately, it may need to be scaled back. I mean, we can't make any promises, but definitely keep it on our radar
Right.
and try and make it a priority, because I think it should be. But yeah, I like the fact that you're gonna go and request the funds. Even though
It's an
they
ask.
are one-time funds,
Mm.
it gives us 3 years to get our ducks in a row,
If
because
they
we
can
know
do
what's
that,
coming down
squeeze
the
it out.
pipe. I
We
think it's important.
don't get a lot out here. We really don't. 495, that way, they make out like a bandit.
But we're the hole in the donut when it comes to grants. We really are.
Yeah.
I see that
And-
firsthand.
If we have to get a bus and bring people to town meeting,
Well, it's interesting because we just had a council on aging board meeting this past Monday. And I was explaining this to them and how I was coming here tonight. And few of the members, spoke right up and said, well, we have formed a new friends group. They're not calling it the Friends, they're calling it Serving Our Seniors, SOS.
oh, good.
And they've filed paperwork with the Attorney General, with
Good.
the IRS, in order to fundraise. And they said, we'll start fundraising for that carport. This is the attitude.
I love it.
Well,
They
it's
don't
a good,
expect,
it's but it's a good thing for them to do, because they can go and talk to people.
and they will,
That's right.
the previous Friends group raised.
And there are new
some-
people in town that don't understand how a town works.
Right.
They are only aware of where their house is, the road to get there. So they have to meet people and understand that they're a functioning part of this government.
Right.
So I think that,
I think fundraising is a great idea.
So yeah, in 3 years, maybe this group will knock it out of the park and, be able to really,
hopefully we don't have to wait that long.
Well, no, we're gonna do the earmark.
Yeah,
for-
but,
and then we're gonna have to stretch it out for 3 years.
even trying to work it in slowly so you can build on it. Just, we pissed away so much money, it makes me sick.
I'm okay with this. My only concern is, again, only having one, estimates from one company for the
Okay.
2 things.
Oh,
If
forget
you
about
could
it.
get a couple more
yeah,
estimates,
I'll work on that.
I think that would be great.
Bob and, yeah, great.
What is the sense of the committee? Should we suggest a motion at this time?
What are we looking for a motion?
Yes.
I'm a little confused because I'm looking at this going, right, we can only advise, suggest, recommend,
Right.
right? And the money would, the request would still have to go in front of capital. And so are we saying that are we saying we're supportive of her continuing with this action? Is that what we're saying?
The recommendation that I have in mind would be that we recommend that the select board write a letter to Representative Zlotnick requesting an earmark of the $40,925 for this coming fiscal year, and similar amounts over the next 2 years, $40,000 over the next 2 years. So it'll be a total of $120,900 over the 3 years. It's just, asking that the select board, write a letter to Representative Zlotnick requesting the earmark, formally requesting the earmark.
Is there a timeline when we have to have the request in to Zlotnick? Is there?
I think the earlier in the fiscal year, the better. They're going to finalize the budget next spring. They start going through, I'm sure there are earmark requests in front of members of the legislature. They make hundreds of millions of dollars in requests, through earmarks.
I guess what I'm trying to ask is, first of all, is there a drop dead date that we have to have that in by for it to even be considered? And the second thing is, what kind of timing should it have so it gets the most attention? Because that's what we're going to have to ask the select board, is going, hey, if we do it in this time frame, it's probably going to get the most attention, but you have to get it done by this. And if they don't know that, then
Yeah,
their agendas are getting very long.
I could check with Representative Zlotnick. I think that going forward, the select board probably wouldn't consider this earmark, recommendation for another month. And then, they would have to draft the letter if they act favorably on it. So it's probably going to be November, December before we would get before Representative Zlotnick. I think that the goal that a worthy goal would be to have this in front of Representative Zlotnick before the end of this calendar year.
so I don't mind putting together a recommendation for the select board, and then also writing, if you want to work with me, writing a letter on behalf of the select board, so that they would just have to sign it and mail it. And then we can present both of them.
If you
to-
don't shoot for the basket, you're not gonna get it in.
Yeah.
So,
And
Can I- Jackie, did you plan on hiring a manager for the kitchen?
No, that idea kind of came up when our activities director resigned several months ago now. We just were not able to find anybody to fill that role.
Okay.
And so Ryan had this idea that, hey, we're gonna have, and over time, many of the jobs that the activities director was responsible for sort of got absorbed by the
Yep.
other staff.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we are gonna have a beautiful state-of-the-art kitchen. And it's not realistic to think it can be managed by volunteers.
One thing that you may want to consider, I volunteered for the food pantry for the North Central Mass Association of Realtors, and we went down and fed the homeless. And what I thought was really cool about the shelter that we were feeding the homeless at is that the local area restaurants, they approach them and they can only have their food on the shelves for so long.
Okay.
So what they would do is they would take them and they would cook it, and then, one night a week, this restaurant would make a donation, this restaurant would make a donation. I don't know if you want to
We would certainly look at
approach
that.
them.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
something to consider,
Yeah,
because otherwise they're just throwing it away.
right, right.
the other idea is once you find, assuming you find, a kitchen manager, right? Is if you contact Monty Tech and,
Mhm.
in that they
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's some paperwork and there's a lot of stuff that goes along with it, but it's an extra set of hands at different points during the week, and it gives the kids some experience.
Mm.
So,
Great idea.
they
Have
do,
money for groceries.
they do need to get paid.
Okay.
The kids do get paid.
Yeah.
That is a great idea.
You know, it's like whatever you can do to get Monty Tech and get kids some experience.
Right, right. We're hoping to have a little bit of money left over from the kitchen project. Some of the money that the Friends turned over to us, is very specifically has to be spent on the kitchen. So, our ARPA money is pretty much dwindling quickly as we
Yeah.
do a couple of meals a month, bringing those in from somewhere else. So, yeah, any ideas? Welcome.
Okay. And I'll work, like I said, I'll work with you
Great.
on this letter,
Okay,
and we'll hope to get it to the select board within the next, I would say next week.
okay. Super, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So, as far as, do you want us to pre-approve a letter?
Yeah, can we do a special meeting? So that we can approve this letter, just in the recommendation to go to the select board, sooner rather than later?
I was gonna make a different suggestion.
Okay.
Is that a motion be made that you two work together?
Yeah.
You draft the letter for the chair's signature, and we can just get it.
Yeah, okay, sounds like a plan to me.
Okay.
And that works.
Okay.
No need to drag you through the coals, my dear.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. You've done a lot.
Yes.
You've had your hands full, sweetheart.
If I may, I just want to get the specific wording of a motion.
Yeah. So I move that April and Jackie work together to draft a letter to the select board. Well, a note to the select board and a letter to,
Representative
It's a
Zlotnick.
lot.
yes, thank you, that name. I don't know, I can't say it. And that they draft it and that they submit it to the chair for approval and signature.
You got that?
Yeah,
Jacqueline?
I'm good.
Right, because
Could
we
you-
don't,
could you
yeah.
read it back, so.
Motion made by Liz that April and Jackie draft a note to the select board and a letter to Representative Zlotnick that requesting earmark money to be signed by the chair.
Second that.
Any further discussion?
Hmm.
Okay, and I'll do a roll call vote.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Jacqueline?
Yes.
And I also vote yes.
Right, thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
You too.
Next,
Enjoy tomorrow.
yes, thank you very much. Next,
She was 16.
Amber.
Did you make a note that we're going out of order?
Oh, yes. Okay. First of all, I like to introduce our new town accountant, Amber Bell. She comes to Templeton by way of the town of Orange. And she has also worked, I believe. Oops,
I've worked all over the place.
all over the place. Okay, I was gonna say Carlisle, but that was
No, I
somebody
worked
else.
for Seaman Paper, Haywood, and Simplex Grinnell.
I heard
You
you're
look
doing a
familiar.
really good job.
Yeah, she said that she knew you from Simplex.
I'm like, I know her.
I think I was gone by the time she showed up.
Okay, what, as far as the items that I'm asking Amber to discuss with us would be on the agenda would be items 11 and items 12. And also item 9. Item 9 is just for your sake, Amber, so you'll know, item 9 is discussion, possible recommendation of the bonding of the town accountant. And then items 11 and 12 concerned the end of the year budget versus actual for fiscal year 2025. and also discussion and recommendations of the July 2025 and August 2025 budget versus actuals if available. And also Liz had sent an email and attachment with an invoice from Lyman Signs in the amount of $650. I have a copy of it. I think even though it's not specifically on the agenda, it is an expense that occurred in August. So I think on that basis, it's proper for us to discuss that at this time. At least at the very least in a general way.
Yeah.
So I did want to discuss, first of all, about the issue of the bonding of the town accountant. As you know, we discussed the bonding or the possible bonding of the town accountant at a previous meeting, and we did actually pass a motion, to recommend to the select board that perhaps this be considered by the select board. It was also asked at that time that I look at different towns to see whether they bond their town accountants. I did look at a number of different towns, and I talked with a number of accountants, and nobody bonds their town accountant.
No,
Nobody.
see, they don't touch money.
Because they don't touch money,
Mhm.
exactly. So I'd just like to kind of frame the issue, and then maybe we can discuss it from that. The reason why this was brought up in the first place was there was exposure of the town due to the actions of a previous town accountant, where there were
Loosely called.
well, in any event, the issue concerned withholding of employee pay. That that's a big bucket, but as a result, the IRS was not happy with the town, and they assessed the sum of $65,000 in a penalty. The town council responded with a letter to the IRS saying that this was really it was a lack of intent on the part of the town, and we've corrected our problems, and please go easy on us. And so the IRS relented, and they reversed themselves and decided not to assess the town any penalty at all. At this time, myself and a couple of other former members of advisory, we looked into the issue of whether or not the town accountant, should be bonded. And we were astonished to discover that there was no bonding of the town accountant. And yet with the exposure, we thought that maybe there should be bonding, of the town accountant. So we did, discuss this at a prior meeting, and to frame the issue is no other town that I'm aware of bonds the town accountant. Another side of the issue is that bonding companies, in my conversation with one area town accountant, they said that they were aware of a town that had looked into bonding the town accountant, and that the bonding company had refused to do that. They refused to do that either for statutory reasons under the Mass General laws, or the more likely reason appears to be that they felt it was not in their wheelhouse, or a exposure to liability that they wanted to expose themselves to. So there's really, the three or four sides of the issue is there's potential liability on the part of the town accountant, but the town accountant is not bonded, and you have bonding companies that are probably reluctant to bond the accountant at all. So what I want to ask is if you could, just, provide us and, within advisory, your thoughts on this subject.
Can I ask you a question first?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Are you a certified accountant?
I'm not, no,
You're not, okay.
not a municipal certified accountant.
Okay, because I think with the certification, you may be able to get bonded. 'Cause I know
Municipal
realist,
certification.
I think so. Because I'm a broker and I'm bonded.
Right, because you handle money in the escrow accounts.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, keep going.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I just think.
Um,
No, it's okay.
I'm not completely familiar with being bonded because I've never had to deal with it as an accountant. I guess my first thought would be to check with whoever the town currently uses to bond the employees to see what their thoughts and opinions are, because if they're not gonna agree to bond the accountant anyways, then you have to decide, are you looking for a different agency than the one you already use, or what your next steps are gonna be. I do agree that the reason that you don't see as many accountants or why people don't bond them in general is they don't touch money. To the point where if someone comes in my office with money, I won't even look at it, whether it's a check, cash, nothing. I will say, sorry, that's against MGL, and I will tell them to turn around and go back out the door. It's not the first time I've had to say it, and it won't be the last. But I mean, as far as whether the town decides to do it or not, like, it doesn't matter to me if you decide you want to get me bonded. That's not a big deal. The other thing is, I don't know how much you typically pay for bonding, but depending what that is or isn't covering will be a decision of if it's worth that additional expenditure that you could use for something else.
I feel that the bonding seems to be short money, small money. But it also, that it appears, the more I look into this, there appears to be degrees of bonding. So in other words, you get more coverage if you pay more money.
Right. Typically, the more money you handle, the higher the bond. Like, I know our previous treasurer in Orange, because we were doing a school project and it was $50 million, their bond had to be high enough to cover I think a year's worth of payments. So they had to carry a higher bond than other people may have
It
to.
was probably temporary because. the
Right,
budget
right.
was-
She temporarily had to have a higher bond, but and lots of times it depends on like what kind of payments you're touching or how much cash you're physically touching.
Now, is your office, the accounting office, is Templeton following the Mass General laws as far as the separation between the treasurer, collector, and the accountant?
From what I can tell in the last 3 weeks,
Maybe that's an unfair
the
question.
only thing that I've seen in that department that is extremely atypical of my knowledge of most municipalities is the fact that the payroll and benefits is under there. Now, we're still not officially cutting the checks. Harper's are, so we're not officially touching the money. But in most municipalities I've dealt with, payroll does typically fall under the treasurer. I don't know why in Templeton it falls under the accountant. I know it's been, I guess, an issue here and there, not necessarily as far as anything happening, but just as far as where it should be and why it's where it is. But that's the only thing really I've seen that's out of the normal. Again, I've only been here 3 weeks, so.
Are you uncomfortable with that, handling the payroll?
I mean, I don't have as much experience with it, so it's definitely a learning curve for me. I've dealt with payroll in other roles, but never really the benefits, because even when I was in the private sector, benefits was typically under HR, not under accounting. So I don't have as much experience with it. Right now Nancy handles most of it because I'm trying to get year end cleaned up, so free cash can get certified and the tax rate can get set. But that's the only thing I've seen that's not typically in an accounting department.
Mr. Chair,
Sure.
one of the things that the select boards talk about times is some sort of HR position or, some kind, right? And I was aware that there was something that was done differently in Templeton between the treasurer and the accountant's responsibilities. And based on what the select board's been saying, it sounds like they're willing to look at that whole thing. And I think we're going to be saying this a lot until the new TA is very well in place, that may be something that we really want the TA to also take a look at and make a recommendation, because, assuming everything goes forward and the person, comes on board, then there's gonna be a lot they're gonna be looking at, and there's gonna be a lot of things that I would expect this individual would probably want to change.
Well, it appears to me that the town got whacked by the IRS over payroll issues.
No, they were actually 1099,
Oh.
they were 1099s, which is an AP function. And the only reason that they went after you is because I want to say it was 2 years ago, they decreased the number of 1099s that you would have to send in order to file electronically. And then last year, they made any business that was filing more than 10 file electronically, and they were not filed electronically. So my understanding is the fine was because you didn't file electronically. It had nothing to do with payroll or how much money was involved.
Right. So you feel that even though you're doing the payroll, that there's not the
Something.
exposure?
I don't feel like it. I mean, everything is still signed off by department heads. All the benefits is coming from other companies, whether it's Harvard Pilgrim or Altus or Worcester Regional Retirement. I guess through Empower, but
So it was discussed
Okay.
way back when in the select board meeting.
But it is
What happened with
bonded
the
at
IRS. And it was because a lot of the paperwork wasn't done correctly either.
Well, what I wanted to say is after the conversation, not only with you, but with other accountants and, the different issues is I just feel that we should drop the issue at this time until the new TA comes on board further. I think something has to be done, but I don't think a recommendation is warranted.
Can I say something?
Sure.
To the best of my knowledge, and I asked around, everyone that touches money in this town is bonded. Everybody that touches money is
Yeah.
bonded.
And that's
So-
what it should be.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that, and I'm quite sure that you have good skills,
thanks, Beth.
yes. And I'm glad to see you here.
If I may ask,
Yes.
who would have the paperwork for who's bonded?
I,
I think the town administrator.
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing that waits.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, whoever I know like in Orange, it's their insurance company that bonds people, so your insurance company might know too if.
Yeah. I think I can only speak for myself that I've been kind of holding off asking bunches of questions until things settle down a little bit.
yeah, things are kind of in and up, so we're starting from the top down.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is item 9 on the agenda. I would like to drop this issue.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right, thank you. Brings us to items 11 and 12. I would on the BvAs, could you just give us a sense of where you as a town accountant are as far as the end of the fiscal year 2025 budget versus actual, as well as July and August of 2025, those BvAs, are they complete or are they still a work in process?
So I would say technically all three of them are technically a work in progress. Because the BvAs that you guys do are across all funds until the 2025 year is rolled over, you're not going to necessarily have accurate allocated numbers in the BvA because those are based on whatever's left at the end of 25 being rolled over. If it was just general fund, then July and August might look more, I guess, accurate. But because yours go across all your funds, it's not going to be accurate until 25 is rolled over.
And when might that be?
I'm not going to make any promises. I did reconcile cash and or accounts receivable is almost reconciled. I just have the ambulance receivable that has a small variance in it. I did notice when I was reconciling the ambulance receivable that May and June commitments had not been done for the ambulance. So my bigger fear at the moment is what I'm gonna find for those 2 months that hasn't been done, that I need to go back and do. We did get cash reconciled, so Cheryl was able to update the treasurer's report. And we updated the cash report in Gateway. That's when I started working on the receivables, and the only one I have left is ambulance. After that, I'll be going through the combined balance sheet. If things in there don't tie out, that's what will signal me of where to go look. And I know there's a few emails, I believe, from the assessor's office and the Community Preservation Committee from 25 that have not been addressed. So I know there's at least 2 other things that need to be addressed before I can start the balance sheet.
This girl is playing catch up.
Yeah.
Big
We know.
time.
We know.
Yeah, I don't know if he understands, but I know we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like trying to move a mountain to
I
get,
will say, luckily, I know Vadar, so.
yeah, thank God, huh? Yeah.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Yes.
We actually found earlier this week that there was a glitch in Vadar's system back in 2023 that had
Oh.
a balance being carried that they were able to delete out. So we were able to get that corrected, but
Ah.
Boy, I'm glad my brain isn't attached to a computer. How bad it would be. Oh my God. Yeah, that has to create probably problems.
Okay, what, going forward
Mhm.
is, Liz in particular, likes to look at, all the expenditures, and all of us as a board, we look at the BvAs, month by month. And we each kind of look for different things. What I wanted to ask you, or what we have done in the past, is that we have met, we continue to meet on a monthly basis, and then we look at the, budget versus actual for the month prior. So if things were ordinary, this being September, we'd be looking at the August budget versus actuals, going through them. And then what we have done is, we've created a list which we have, provided to the town administrator. Without a town administrator, that list, maybe going to you, or go from the town administrator to you, but we try to have a written list and give the town officials a chance to respond in writing to the list. Is that something that works for you?
that's fine.
Okay. All right. I guess my next question is regarding the end of year and July and August, all the budgets versus actuals. Should we wait another month?
We're, if I may,
Sure.
we're going to have to, we have to see the last things. She needs to have time to be able to settle in and basically do what she needs to do, because we've gone through 4 accountants and she doesn't know what she's going to find.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this will slow things down too, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So.
I mean, that being said, if anyone ever has questions, I love learning and I love educating. So I feel free to ask whatever your questions you want. Sometimes I have a tendency to overshare. So if I start to see your eyes glaze over or you really don't know what I'm talking about, just tell me and I'll try and backpedal. Sometimes I forget and start using acronyms and have to remember, and not everyone knows them. So.
All right, so everybody set on the budgets versus actuals.
Is this number 12?
So when should
Yeah,
we
yeah.
expect that?
Let's back up and say, on a typical month, once you've settled in, all right, because right now this is not typical for you at all. How long at this point, do you have enough information for how Templeton operates to be able to give an estimate? Are you like 2 weeks out from
So
those, or?
the biggest piece that I need to understand in order to give a concrete information. So previously, where I came from, when we did the reports, it was only for the general fund. So because you guys do it for all the funds, I'm assuming there's gonna need to be a time period where I take whatever revenue has come in for those funds and allocate it into the expenditure piece, because obviously unless there's a cap, like revolving accounts have a cap of how much they can spend in a year. But beyond those, if there's not a cap, that revenue needs to be entered as additional allocated money in order to give an actual picture of what's available. I don't know what the treasurer's current timeline is of when she typically has all the revenue in to be able to give an accurate answer to when those would be ready.
That's
But
fine.
it's definitely something I can
Yeah.
try and map out a date
It-
moving forward.
Yeah, if you could just set expectations for us as far as,
Well, in the past, we typically meet the third Thursday of the month ish. And we usually discuss the previous months, so it's like, we have like a 3-week window of.
Yeah, I mean, coming from the private sector, I was very used to there being like 5-day closes. So municipal world is a little weird in that aspect.
I
for
found this, anything beyond 5 days really got me upset, but then I started to realize that municipal government is completely different. And it
Yeah.
always seems to be a minimum of 2 weeks.
Right. It's definitely the first accounting job I've had where there's not a monthly like hard close like the other ones. But then obviously the year end tends to consume a lot more time and energy too. But as I will talk with the treasurer next week, because I'm assuming she has a pretty even process of when she gets things completed, and that will allow me to determine, because the only other thing that really plays into it is depending like where the last day of the month falls in a calendar, because obviously we have the check run on the same day every week. But if the first is a Friday, then that whole week's warrant isn't going to be in it anyways. If the first is the 30th, or if the day we post the checks is the 30th, then that warrant will be in there, which obviously adds a little more to it.
But I suggest this,
Yeah.
and ask you, Liz is kind of a numbers person, she just loves doing a deep dive.
Numbers are fun.
And, she's very good at it. I mean, do you have any problem with, reaching out to, Liz about different things?
I have no problem with anything.
Okay.
I'm pretty easygoing.
Because
Not much
Liz, she really does, look at things, and I think she can help you out too. I know she's helped out previous accountants where, entries were missed and, things like that.
I tell people all the time, I'm just as imperfectly human as the next person, so.
I just go through and tick and tie things, basically, and anything that looks odd. I have been on the on the being audited side of things for Sarbanes-Oxley, for the pharmaceutical industry and security. So I kind of come at it from that perspective. I'm in IT, but supporting all of that stuff. I'm not an accountant.
He makes my head woggled.
I'm not an accountant, but I have a minor in accounting. It's
But
really-
Liz, I found, I didn't really know Liz until prior to February of this year, and she's really very, very good, with numbers. She's very, very good, and I think that what my hope would be is that the two of you can share information, help each other out. It's
No
would
problem.
be, I think that would be for the benefit of the town. It would help you. I think Liz can be a great help to you.
I'm going to be asking a lot of silly questions
No such thing.
until I am fully educated, because I'm new to the committee. So there's a lot of things that I don't understand. I look at, oh, this is how it worked in the corporate world. I don't know how it works in the municipality.
I've been there. I get it.
Yeah, but she's learning, she's learning and she's getting, better month by month. And I really like the idea of, I think she'd be a very, very helpful, you both would be helpful.
Well, and the thing is, like, even if you know municipalities, I mean, I've only have 2 to compare from, but I've decided no 2 municipalities are the same, and there are many variances between and things that are done slightly different, or like Orange doesn't have a community preservation. So for me, that's a whole new learning curve. Obviously, they don't have a municipal light department, so that's another learning curve. But I mean, for the most part, yeah, they're governed under the same laws, but depending on what they have for personnel or whatnot, things can shift and vary.
Thank you. So in advance, thank you for your patience.
Did you want to?
Yeah, I do.
Want to discuss this or?
I would like to. May I?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I discussed this with you. Yeah.
I think she actually answered my allocation questions, why it changes from month to month. So this invoice, right, is for emergency management lettering, right? That it's not maintenance. Emergency management has its own budget, and yet the notes say it comes out of highway, which to me doesn't seem right, because that's not if it was maintenance of a vehicle, I could understand the argument and that it should come out of that budget, but it's not.
Signage.
Signage, thank you. Yeah, it's signage. So
I have not been involved in Templeton long enough to know the full story of this vehicle and where it came from and where it's going and what deals
Yeah.
may or may not have been made. From a municipal accounting perspective, when we receive a bill warrant that's signed off by a department head, the town has given them care and custody of those funds, that money that the town budgeted to their department. So as long as it is not an illegal purchase and they still have money within their appropriation, it is not up to me to decide if highway has the ability to pay a bill for emergency management or not. That would be a management decision, which the select board TA or you guys through a recommendation to them. I do know it was questioned by the select board. I gave them basically the same information I just gave you guys after I had called the highway department. I know there was talk about a check being held. I don't know if it was this check. That would be a treasurer question. But as far as my office, there was no reason for us to not pay this.
because at the annual town meeting, when the budget is approved, it's approved for specific departments for a specific amount of money. And I don't know how to ask this question without it sound, and this isn't directed towards you at all, sound accusatory at all, but it feels to me like it's a misappropriation of funds, because one department is paying basically a bill for another department, and that's not what was voted on town meeting floor.
Do you happen to know where this vehicle came from?
It probably came from police.
Okay, because my only other thought was like maybe this had been a highway vehicle and in whatever agreement to transfer it, highway had agreed to pay for the lettering. If that's not the case and it came from police, I mean.
And the other thing that made this unique, because I did look at it, is that this bill is actually in excess of their budgeted funds for things other than stipends. I think the budget for things other than stipends of the 3 or 4 members is $500, and that this invoice was for $650. So that's.
It just doesn't, like I said, this isn't directed towards you.
No, I mean, trust me, there's been plenty of things in my life, whether it's private or public sector, that different departments have bought or not bought that I don't necessarily agree with, but it's not something that's within my control. If you ask anyone in Orange, they will tell you that I yell at people about paper clips. I do. In Orange, all the paper clips come to the accounting office and people will go out and buy them, and it drives me crazy. So I fill a manila interoffice envelope and stick it in their mailbox and tell them don't ever buy paper clips again. It's who I am. My husband will tell you I'm a penny pincher. So I get where you're coming from.
Love those words.
But at the same token,
Yeah.
I also have to be realistic that regardless of whether I would have done it or agree with it or know the full story, it's not within my purview to tell the highway whether they can or can't pay for the signage for another department.
Now, would you, when you see something like this happening, would you pull it and bring it to the selectmen's attention? Or is that something that we're gonna have to watch?
It depends. Obviously, I was relatively new, so this didn't flag me at all. It also depends on, I guess, the town structure. So every town is different. You guys have advisory committee, Orange has finance committee. I don't know necessarily the full scope of what kind of authority your town administrator is given versus Orange. Some towns have town managers, and even within those, there's different scopes of what people can and can't do. Whether this would have flagged me, I don't know that it would have. I mean, especially for $650, part of the whole like auditing thing is materiality. In the grand scheme of a $20 million budget, 650 is not a major material item either.
Yeah, I get the two sides of this are, and it drew Liz's attention because it is an expense by the highway department of another department's need, which
It feels like a transfer without actually
right,
going through the
right.
process.
But then on the other hand, the emergency services, they're a very small department. Their total budget is only $1,500, and this $650 is in excess of the appropriated amount, which is kind of a very unusual situation in that town government.
Right. I will say, like, obviously there are times, especially the bigger departments, police, fire, highway, they have bigger budgets. They do tend to have a little more leeway when things come up. I know a couple of years ago, my computer had died and I was at FinCom begging and pleading for how was I going to get a new computer? I need it to do my job, but my budget in Orange was very, very small and there was no room for a computer. Now, another bigger department was like, I can't believe you had to beg for a computer. If I need a new computer, I can buy one without a blink of an eye. It's the difference between the size of budgets.
Right.
Some budgets have more built-in room for emergencies, some don't. I don't necessarily know. Maybe emergency management is doing something for highway and highway is doing something for them. I don't know enough about
Yeah.
how Templeton runs yet and how closely these two departments work together to know
Okay.
if there was some sort of trade-off or whatnot.
I guess my question would be like, do you actually look at the invoices, like every invoice that comes over your desk? So like on this one in particular, you would have saw that it was DPW, but signed off. Actually, no, you wouldn't have.
No, because it says highway,
Yeah,
but it says emergency
I
management.
don't expect for you to go into that much detail.
The other thing I will say is when this came across my desk, I didn't even realize at the time emergency management was its own department. So
Yeah.
that's another reason it wouldn't have flagged me because I didn't realize it was its own
It was
department.
a small dollar amount and you
Right.
weren't aware of the size of that department.
Right,
Take any of this.
no, typically if I'm reviewing an invoice, I'm like, okay, this vendor, I know Lyman Signs is a vendor. We use it in Orange, so I'm not concerned about it not being fraudulent. I checked invoice number and make sure it's in the right year. I will have up the BvA basically while I'm reviewing to make sure there's an appropriation in their account. And then I make sure that the totals match. Obviously Nancy, on the other hand, is the one who is actually entering them into Vadar. So there's other things that she may be cross-checking that I'm not necessarily completely looking at. At least that's how it was in Orange with my assistant. Obviously, Nancy has still been full going on the AP side and on the payroll while I try and get other things cleaned up. I know this week was probably the first week I took the hardest dive through the invoices. Because now that I have a couple weeks under my belt and I'm learning a little more about who's who and what department is what, it makes it a little bit easier to understand what's coming and going.
I just want to make sure that there's a process where the approving signature is the actual department head.
Yep, so every packet that they send over is a warrant packet, has a front bill schedule, and it has to be signed by the actual department head unless they've given authority for someone else to sign. Like say someone was out having surgery or something, or was going to be on vacation, they can veto that power to someone else. Like I know in Orange, when the chief of police is out, he would allow his lieutenant to sign off on things while he was out. but we do require that in writing.
And do we actually have a process in writing that you know of?
I don't know if Templeton has one, no. I do know we did get it in writing today for an employee to sign up for someone else while they were on surgery, but that was just an email writing, and we had spoken to, I believe it was a commissioner while they were in my office. So we did have a conversation. I don't typically just take blanket emails because nowadays people can pretend to be whoever they want, so.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Yeah.
Welcome to Templeton.
Thanks.
Good luck.
You'll send-
Good, I'm good.
Thank you.
Would you like your invoice back?
Yeah, sure.
Getting stuck to this.
Thank you very much.
That all your questions?
Yes.
Hey, drive careful, hon.
Thank you.
Okay, so that takes care of 9, 11, and 12.
We need to follow up policy.
Yeah.
Number 11?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
Thanks.
She didn't know if there was a policy in regards to transferring.
Well, there is a policy for transferring funds, but in essence, and this is just my opinion. The steps that I think should have taken place is that the request to transfer funds should have gone through advisory and select board and transferred it and then paid it that way as opposed, because this makes me
But
question.
is there a policy that states that? Because if not, it's gonna be done the way that it's always been done.
There's a bylaw, there's a bylaw and there's a policy that says, and that's one of the things that I was getting a little upset about, because my definition of a transfer.
Yeah.
Is if you're transferring between accounts. And what I'm getting,
Between departments.
but that it's okay for department heads to transfer money between their accounts in their departments. So, I don't feel like I think that's something we need to look at, because it just,
Yeah, no.
Well, the-
and
The meeting before April and Bev came, we sat right there, the three of us, and approved transfers, year-end transfers.
There are only 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
but-
That's what we did.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's what happens. It was paperwork and Noel signed it and it went back and forth.
Right.
And we voted.
Well, there's only been 3 or
This is
4.
actually kind of a good old boy, I'll take care of you thing,
Yeah.
playing Santa Claus, which is not acceptable.
It's
Not okay.
I don't, it doesn't, it may be all right, it doesn't feel right to me at all, because this should have been, to me, this should have been a transfer, because it doesn't fall under within the same department.
It's 2 departments.
It's 2 departments that's supposed to come in front of the select board.
Yeah, well, why don't we ask them to join us so they can give us an explanation as to what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens when they need tires, when they need gas, when they need all the stuff that they need?
Can we put that on?
I don't think that happens very often.
Can we put this on
But I mean, they have a vehicle. They don't have any money in their budget for a vehicle.
Yeah, do you want this?
I would like the highway department and emergency management to come in, the directors, and I'd like them to explain this invoice to us. Let's do it for the next meeting. Would you mind reaching out to them, Noel, or is that something you'd like me to do?
Either way. You can.
I can?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, if it's happening,
Just make sure that you follow up with me to make sure it's on the agenda.
I want to know dealing with this one, I would like to know how many other times this happens. Because, you know,
I don't think it happens, because I asked earlier today, I did ask our new town
Mhm.
accountant how often she has seen it happen, and granted, she's only been here for 3 weeks.
But she didn't even notice.
yeah, that's the point. Even though it may not be material for this particular one, but if it's happening all the time, it becomes material.
Yes.
And what,
I also think she'll notice it going forward. She'll
Yeah.
notice that because we brought it up.
yeah, and it's not her fault at all. She's
brand
new,
new.
she's brand new, she doesn't know.
Yeah.
But
And I think what's unusual too is that the emergency services department is very small. They have a very small budget,
and
which is why I don't think that happens all that often.
I'm not saying it's just emergency services. I wonder how much some of the other, the larger departments just cover things. And that's what my concern is, because as far as, I'm gonna say it publicly, as far as I'm concerned, the next budget year, $650 comes right off the top of his, because he didn't need it. This wasn't for him. This was, or for his department. This is for emergency management. And emergency management's budget needs to be bigger to cover those kinds of things that they need. So it's a better,
Well, maybe we can
emergency.
have that conversation with Bob and ask him
Yeah.
how often he's covering expenses for emergency management.
Or
And if
anybody
it
else.
becomes a large dollar amount, if he says, well, I have, $5,000 padded for them. Okay, well, we're gonna take that off the top of your budget and roll it over there. Going
Yeah,
forward.
I also think that this is also a town manager, kind of issue. So when the new town administrator gets, up and running, that's one of the conversations that we should have with the town administrator is, how much back and forth is there?
I mean, the optics are just bad. It may be perfectly acceptable, it may be the practice that it's been used, it may be all these things, but the optics is not good.
Just because you do it all the time doesn't make it right.
So,
And I think the question is, how often does it happen? That's a fair
We
question.
can ask them.
You're gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so that's 9, 11, and 12.
Mhm.
Okay, right, the next item would be item 8. Is, what,
I'm gonna put 10. Oh,
yeah, 8 and then 10. All right, I want to give everybody this. What I asked Jacqueline to do is to, I asked her to, look through, past months, business that hadn't been resolved, and kind of the goal of this, in setting up the agenda for this meeting is to, try to clean up things from the past fiscal year. So she made this list of, 10 items, from the past, most of which I put on the agenda. But there were a few that I did not put on the agenda. And all right, one, item 4, you'll see, I did not put it on the agenda for this month, regarding the Templeton Sewer Department billing. And the reason why I did not put that on the agenda is that I had a conversation with Mr. Bennett. And Mr. Bennett asked that we defer that until such time as there is a new town administrator in
Yep.
place and
Absolutely.
the town, a new town accountant in place, and that is coming together. So I think in another month, we should be ready to,
okay, so
talk about that. So that's number 4 on the
number
list.
2, we're gonna cross off.
Yes, the bonding, right. Yeah, we're gonna drop that. And also, number 5, the BvA, we're gonna for that. And then, number,
When are we, I'm sorry, I'm going back. The sewer billing, we're gonna defer that till when? Next month?
the BvA.
Yeah.
He'll probably take care of that and probably don't,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to do that.
Now, items, 6 and 7 on this, old business list is, as you remember, Justice made a presentation and, what we decided to do was to, review, what he discussed in January. And one of the items, I know a couple of members, are interested in the amount and how many seniors with the senior work-off program, what is the potential to raise the amount of money that a senior can be reimbursed, and how many seniors this can be offered to. And I think this is one of the items that we should discuss when hopefully we'll have Justice back in January and we can discuss that particular issue. I do remember him, saying that this is something that he really had to think about, and
So, update on assessors overlay, we're gonna push out to January.
right, that'd be items 6 and 7. Right, and then the gas tax, number 8, is, I've made repeated attempts with the Department of Revenue to find out how much gas tax Templeton pays, and I have not yet received any answer. So I will put that on the agenda when I get an answer. I'm hoping to have an answer and can put it on the agenda for next month. Okay, so in any event, the next item on tonight's agenda, discussion and possible recommendation of the amount of free cash for a stabilization account. Any thought?
Yeah, if we have free cash, when we have free cash. Well, until we know when or if or how much, it's like throwing a snowball at snowman.
Will we put it on, next month's agenda? Because she seemed like she was close.
She did, does that, silly question of the daytime. Does that, for this, it needs to be certified before we really know, right?
In your capital improvements committee,
Yeah, well,
you're doing a lot of work based on the amount of free cash.
Mm,
I think what you're gonna discover is you're gonna have a couple $1 million in requests and a couple $100,000 of money. And how do you fit that together?
Well, they're in the policy, it does have a general direction on priorities for that money. And, one of the things that I asked to see was I want to see them going out the 6 years as the town bylaw states. They're supposed to provide 6 years. And the one from last year, a couple of the spots, went across a couple of years, but most of them just gave the current year. And that's not a plan, that's a Christmas list.
One of the things Justice asked the department heads to do was to come up with every request, including what has happened is a department head has made a request 3 or 4 times. And it hasn't been granted, so they just give up asking. And I believe what Justice asked for is, if you got something to ask for, put it on the list.
Yeah, well.
And then that would help with the, 5 or 6 year plan future. If it's not on the list, it's kind of hard to plan.
You're not gonna plan for it if it's not on the list.
Right.
And what the appearance to me is that we were just looking at whatever the current year's questions, whatever the current year's needs were. You're not looking into the forward and into future years. And which means we weren't really planning. We were,
We're not,
Yeah.
not, and that needs to be done.
right,
I mean,
and
there is a list that's going to take several years to fulfill, but there's not a list that says that in FY 2028, we're going to buy this item.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so we can't plan to put the money aside, whatever the legal appropriate method of doing that is. That if we've got a major purchase coming up, that we know is gonna be there in 2-3 years. Like, it needs to be in the plan now, so that way we can try to address it, or looking at grants, or doing something to be able to fund that.
Okay, can we go back to this? So discussion and possible recommendation of amount of free cash for stabilization account. We can't do that.
No.
All right, so let's
Just-
push it off.
Okay, we'll push it off. Okay, so the next item would be, I was gonna make a recommendation that we drop this as well, item 10, discussion, possible recommendation to the select board regarding use of comparable town data.
They already do that.
Right. I recommend that we drop that.
Yeah. Recommendation for
No, it's that, brings us to item number 13, discussion and possible recommendations to the select board concerning creation of a preferred vendor list.
I think this needs to be very specific in regards to supplies and not contractors.
It goes back to my planning thoughts that they should know ahead of time, right? That there are certain things they're gonna have to do, like supplies, whether it's they should be picking a vendor or possibly two that for the entire town, for office supplies, for clothing, for uniforms, for who's gonna do the work for the, whether it's the actual maintenance of some of the equipment.
Well, that's difficult because with the police department, you've got, tactical gear and things of that sort, where the highway department isn't necessarily gonna wear that kind of clothing, or vice versa.
You also have union contracts.
Right.
Yeah, but if you look at, and I guess this is the thing, is that I'm looking at the detail. Right, and it seems a little. The department heads historically have had a lot of discretion, right? Over the next few years, we're gonna be very, very tight on money. And people may not like it. Department heads may not like it. There needs to be a very, very close look at what's being spent, how it's being spent. If you look at just the office supplies, in my opinion, should be centrally located. Because you don't need everybody all over the place, right? Having their own, because it's also more efficient. Because one person is doing the ordering, not 5 or 6 different people. The fact that we're using different vendors for office supplies, when there is a vendor for office supplies through the state.
Well, we
Where-
can have one vendor, so like WB, for instance. We could have that one vendor who delivers X amount of supplies to each department on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
In
I don't-
2021, I was looking at paperwork I
I
had.
mean, could you
We've
imagine
been talking
sending
about
somebody
this
down
since
at all?
2016, having a centrally located closet.
Yeah, but
It-
it's crazy because you're gonna send somebody down to town hall to get a thing of paper?
Well,
Yeah, and the reason for that.
I guess they're gonna have to sign it out.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, no, the reason I'm saying yes is because I've seen in companies where they went from having everybody order their own office supplies to having a centrally located one, and the company saved over 30% right there, just in doing that.
We're not spread out like we were, aside from the police department and the fire department. Most of our departments are here now. In the old days, Walter had stuff in the back of his car. You had people down by the river in Baldwinville, so you couldn't do that. But now, I'll bet if we cleaned house out of every office in this building just for envelopes, one guy may have 4 or 5, somebody may have 35. I mean,
But where are we gonna store that? Do we even have a?
in the closet.
I have a suggestions to that also.
Of course you do.
I don't come with just problems, I come with potential solutions.
You gotta figure on stuff for computers.
Yeah,
There's so everything's so expensive now.
so my thought
Yeah.
is, the veteran services officer should, in my opinion, be in the council on aging building, because that's where most of the people are that the person would be dealing with anyways, right? You move them over there, right, as opposed to being in town hall, right? And that particular office becomes the storage area for the office supplies.
You know what, Liz? We're gonna let you make this recommendation to the select board.
Oh, I have no problems doing
I'm telling you.
Well-
that, so.
On the reports that we got from for years, they have told us to do this. To have a centrally located. This is not just stuff we've been talking about it since.
Is this just the
2006.
auditor?
Yeah.
The auditor. What?
The same thing with having light and water get together and water and sewer get together and have one, but no, nothing gets done.
Do you recall,
I can show it to you in black and white.
so is what, that all office supplies be in one
Yeah.
spot?
Centrally located.
Because basically what happens is all of the extras that you have, just in case, or when I'll say your stock, that when you go to put more paper in, you've got a backup supply, right? Everybody right now has their own backup supply
Yeah.
of everything. And just by centrally locating it, you drop that actual inventory level to something that's a little bit less, that,
And then are we just gonna remove office supplies off of their line item budget?
Well, yeah, add them all up and see what it comes to.
True.
Add them all up. It's amazing.
But who's then in charge of ordering stuff?
Well.
We'll worry about that later.
The subject is really, preferred vendor list. So what is the best way to go about creating that? And
I think we need to get the policy approved first.
Yeah, and then we need to talk like Laurie, Board of Health has her own people that she has to do business with. So,
there's going to be some
oh yeah,
vendors in some areas of the departments that you have to have this set, right? And that's what they are, the single source. And what brought this all up for me was when I put in the records request, looking for the Chapter 30B paperwork or anything that was over 10 grand, I got nothing. So for me,
nothing at all.
I got partial contracts. I did not get,
How many contracts are you talking?
I asked for quite a few and I got nothing. So,
And ones we asked for were put on the website.
Yeah.
After the fact.
after the fact, right? And even then, there were things in it that weren't there. There's, my sweet spot is software, and I'm looking at the software contracts and I'm going, this looks like it's there are things that are missing. There's, all right, I want to see the fact that, all right, we spent X amount of money for this software package. Why did we buy this software package? When we have a department that spent $40,000 2.5 years ago for software that the department head admitted the fact that they haven't used yet. So,
Okay, so.
Yeah.
I guess coming back to how should we go about trying to create a preferred vendor list?
well, I don't think we create the list. I think we create the recommendation that a list is done.
Yeah, maybe
And that
the
it'd be-
new TA, would that be something he would do?
No,
No?
I think we should do a recommendation. That a vendor list be done. I think in the recommendation should be the centralized supplies. And I think within that, you also need to provide them with a policy.
Mhm.
And if they decide to move forward with it, they send it back to us.
Yeah.
And then we go from there.
I don't think they need to send it back to us. We just need to know what it is. Because Mike,
Something's better than nothing, and what we have now is nothing.
and there's,
I feel like we're gonna need to hire somebody for purchasing. We're gonna need to hire somebody for, you know what I mean? Like,
well, the department head is already doing it.
well, we're gonna be removing that aspect of it. We're gonna be taking that from their budget. They're not gonna do it.
What I'm trying to say is the department head's gonna be paid more than somebody else. And it's more cost effective to use somebody else than it is the department head to do it. And when the department head's also signing things that they shouldn't be signing.
So then you're not gonna have a closet. You're gonna have boxes.
Oh, no. No,
Well-
I'm gonna have a closet for office supplies specifically, right? Other things, you know, I think there should be an approved list, you know, of, you can pick from these 2 or these 3 vendors for clothing. In uniforms, right, to cover the different departments and the different requirements within them, right? I think we need to be saying that the budgets when you go to put together your budget, it needs to be a lot more detail into what falls within that. There's just, there was an appearance of some slush in some of the departments, an appearance. I'm not saying there is slush. I'm saying it just
I agree.
feels like there is.
Yeah.
All right. And so the only way you can really do anything about this is to get a really fine, detailed control over every single spend item. And that means nothing gets spent without the appropriate authority, it's like the thing we talked about earlier, right? That should never have been allowed to be done, right, in my opinion. And I'm sure there are other cases like that, you know, when we get into the other conversation about credit cards, it's,
Okay,
So-
going forward, concerning the preferred vendor list. All right,
we
I
recommend.
just want to hear
one.
proposals, proposals for recommendations. So is your recommendation, would that be for a preferred vendor list?
Yes,
That,
I think she should do a policy alongside of that.
okay,
You could do is you could ask what vendors they use, take a
Well-
look at them. And
That's why I
see,
said that the
see-
select board should kick it back to us. If they decide that they want to move forward in that direction, then we go to the department heads and we get their preferred vendors.
we already know who their vendors are from the annual list. We already know who they are. And what is missing is specifically,
What's being purchased through them.
right, that's what we're missing, is that part of it.
Yep.
And then the conversation of why did you use this one over this one?
Yep.
And it's, you know, I honestly think it's a smaller list, and it's not only that, but I think, and some of this is union contract things, right? That would need to be negotiated next time it comes up. Is each department has a little bit different needs for, you know, uniforming and clothing, right? But you actually spell it out what the town will be paying for with a max dollar amount for the year. So if they decide that they want to go and purchase it themselves and get reimbursed, right? Which kind of goes around the whole preferred vendor, that there is a limited amount of money and those things, you know, you want to go purchase this, that's fine. You still have to use the preferred vendor. You know, it's things like that that need to be.
Yeah, I think the way it happens now is that an individual has a clothing allowance. And they can buy from whoever they wish, but they can't exceed the clothing allowance. The town will just reimburse up to the clothing allowance.
I've seen no documentation to that effect.
I think that would be in the union contract.
No, what I mean is, I haven't seen any documentation that says,
They might just go through their paycheck.
Yeah, because
No.
I did see reimbursements to specific officers, for instance.
no, they're reimbursements. I'm not arguing about the
That's the
reimbursements.
purchases.
I'm saying I have not seen any paperwork that says Joe Schmo has spent 300 of his $1,000.
I would assume the department.
It
heads
just,
have
it's
that.
usually just like certain times of the year, and then it just goes in your paycheck. You don't have to like give receipts. So let's just say you go out and buy 4 suits for court and you cost you $1,000, well, you're only getting $800, but
Right.
you're still, just goes into your paycheck.
It's like an
Well, that's
automatically
different.
assumed allowance.
Yeah, you know, that's different than what I'm saying is because, you know, they're getting there's specific reimbursements that are also happening. So it's not going just in their
Yeah,
paycheck.
that maybe is for like, I
Yeah,
don't know, educational
So-
things or equipment things, or like that's above and beyond what's usually.
what I'm saying is that past historical processes for doing it need to be relooked at because there's just enough questions in there. And I'm not saying permanently keep it, you know, really narrow. I'm saying we make it very narrow for a period of time. So we can actually see everything that's going on. And then eventually kind of, okay, we'll open it back up. By then we'll know what rules need to be in place. You know, what are people doing? But that's just my opinion. So
Okay.
I'd
so
like to make a motion.
Okay, any motion?
I'd like to make a motion that Liz puts together a preferred vendor list and a recommendation along with policy for the select board to review. Well, actually, put it together for us to review at our next meeting, prove it and send it over to the select board.
Are you making the whole list?
no, I didn't think I was making
Yeah,
a
that-
list. Yeah.
I didn't,
Why not? I'm just-
she doesn't know like who uses what and what's
Yeah.
the best and.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
don't,
let's-
I can't
No, I
make
think,
it appropriate.
I think the motion would be for the concept of a preferred vendor list.
Okay.
And policies related to the concept of a preferred vendor. list.
Recommendation.
Is that a fair?
Yes.
Okay. So you want to take a stab at that?
All right, I make a motion
Okay.
that Liz puts together a recommendation letter for the select board to include a policy that indicates we need a preferred vendor list.
So
You got me?
Jacqueline, you want to read that back?
Motion was made that Liz puts together a letter for the select board to include a policy that indicates we need a preferred vendor list.
No. Well,
You want to take another try at
A
it?
letter and a policy.
do you want to take over? Go for it.
I mean, basically what I'm being asked for is to write a draft policy, a letter to the select board, bring it back to advisory saying, are we in agreement with this? If we are, we move it forward to the select board. Is that,
So. A motion. to draft policy. For vendors.
Yes.
Motion to draft a policy on preferred vendors.
Good girl.
Good girl. I'll second it.
Is that motion
For
made?
forwarding to the
I think that
select
was,
board,
yeah.
to forward to the select. board.
Well, the motion is just to make the draft, and then I think once the draft is, then we can make another motion to forward it, maybe, like that's how I would.
Your understanding, or was that accomplished?
Right now, the only motion is that we draft a policy or draft
Draft a letter and a
draft a
policy.
letter, and then we will then vote to move it forward if we think it's,
Okay, and then even though we're not naming anybody in the motion, Liz.
well, Liz has been
Hour
volunteering
of
to
the
do that.
day,
So-
and will it be?
Yeah, no, I am, that's fine, I'll take it. I kind of opened this can of worms.
A motion to draft a policy on a preferred vendor list. That's all we're doing right now, we're making a motion to draft a policy on preferred vendor list.
Yeah.
And then it'll appear
Okay,
another agenda.
Yeah.
To discuss once it's looking
that's suitable.
good.
So we're not doing the recommendation, just the policy?
A motion to draft a policy on a preferred vendor list.
Can we do a recommendation to the select board?
Once
we do
Liz
that,
okay.
writes the letter, and then we
Okay.
can read it, and then we'll then put it forward.
Okay,
So it's a two-step
Yeah.
process.
So this is A, so that it comes back to us, and then once it comes back to us, we would then make another motion
well, I'm
to.
just trying to kill,
Well,
two birds with one stone.
Well, did you want, but you wanted it to come back to us anyway to look at.
Trying to cut the red tape. lengthwise.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's gotta come back for everybody to talk
Yeah.
about, look at,
Okay.
you know.
Do I have a second on that motion?
Second,
Second, okay, any further discussion?
No.
Okay, give it a, call the roll. Bev,
yes.
April,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Yes,
Liz, and so, yes. Okay, the next item is item 14, discussion and possible recommendation to the select board concerning the use of the town credit card.
Yeah, you want me to talk about this? Or Liz?
Did everybody get some thoughts?
The what?
I sent an email the other day. You know, I talked with some of the department heads about credit card use.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see this. No, did you really send it?
He did send it.
Yeah.
I did receive it.
Oh, make copies of it. Probably should have given up a sort of the last item, but. Um. Okay, if you go on the second page, you'll see some thoughts concerning credit card purchases and then emergency use only of credit cards. And I had discussions with several department heads, a couple of whom had watched our last meeting.
Well, there's more than one credit card. I mean,
there's three.
yeah, the BvA shows us that. It's very clear. There's 3 credit cards. So that's where I talked earlier about drafting up an email to the department heads, asking them if they have a credit card and requesting their policy in regards to its use.
Well, is there the one American Express
There's
card
American
that the
Express.
town administrator keeps? What are the other? cards?
Capital One,
Who keeps that?
I don't know.
No, that's the whole.
There's
thing.
one more.
Yeah, there isn't just one,
Wait,
There's
the
3.
Amazon card?
you know,
No idea.
and these. There are multiples, so
There-
saying that there's one across the town is incorrect,
Okay,
right?
I
The-
stand corrected.
Yeah, the second thing is that the point in limiting the credit card use is because there were lots of things showing up on just I didn't pull everything for Amazon.
Right, you said like $88,000.
Right, so American Express, Amazon, and Capital One.
So there's a lot of money there that should be going through vendors. And, I know it's said someplace in here that,
Another one too.
where is it? Let's see. The credit card purchases, there's only one card. No, that's not correct.
Well, what,
So basically what I'm saying is that there's this huge hole, black hole, that purchases are being made through. And the idea that a vendor will only accept a credit card payment. I want to see that in writing from all those vendors. Because the partial grouping that I got for American Express included I'll say communications. It included cell phones, it included Comcast cable, and it included those things, right?
you couldn't separate whether it was personal or town?
Right, you can't. Some of them did have street addresses on them, but that's not the point. The point is, we should not be paying that with a credit card. They, yeah, okay, it appears that they go online, they look at the bill, right? Because they print out the bill, right? And then they pay it with a credit card. Well, you can cut a check for that. And so what you don't see is the money that's actually going to each vendor. You don't see that. It becomes, invisible. And again, because of where the town is financially, people may not like it. There needs to be very, very tight control. Yes, it adds bureaucracy. Yes, it adds some overhead. But, at the end of the day, I'm assuming these are your words and not theirs.
Yeah,
But,
I just,
yeah.
it's from them.
But the general. My general impression is, don't touch us, leave us alone. We'll just let us continue doing what we're doing. It's like, no.
It's the people's money.
Yeah. And because of that, it just makes me want to look at the whole vendor. It makes me want to look at the one.
Are we carrying balances and paying interest? Like,
Yeah.
like that's insane to me.
Yeah.
Well, American Express, you have to pay.
You have to
the
pay
whole-
that full every month.
I don't know about the others. But what I am saying though is that leaves room. I'm not saying anyone's doing anything wrong, but that leaves room for stuff to happen.
In looking at this and thinking on it, one side is you need to have billing and, vendors to bill. And yet you have credit cards. And it seems like in some instances, there are needs to purchase something quickly.
Is there? I will argue that point with you. The reason I will argue that point with you is there is the idea of the 7 Ps of planning.
Prepare.
Well, proper planning prevents performance,
Yeah.
And the only thing that should be a surprise, quite frankly, is an emergency. Right? And we can't put a process in place that says, okay, for this, yeah, you can go buy that.
And I don't think there's that many emergencies. So
I don't think-
that goes to your
Yeah.
point. I guess I'm wondering, and this is really a question for Bev, because, you've been around a lot longer than all of us, is what, I guess this comes down to, what has Roselli or other auditors said about credit card use? Well, what's the best practice?
I'd have to look through all the paperwork I've got. I got some stuff I'm gonna give Elizabeth. I do know one thing, I write checks, okay? I'm getting a lot of flack, people don't want me to write a check. They want everything electronic,
Right.
that's the thing.
Well, you can do electronic.
Yeah.
right? It's like the bank I use, there are things that,
You can plan it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
plan my bills every month and I pay it electronically.
Yeah.
But, God bless you, but there's a difference between doing that, right? And
Just running out and buying stuff.
going out and just buying. Again, it's the optics. Everything may be completely legit. But it's the optics. I mean, I looked at one bill that I did raise a question on. Which was for an individual went to a conference and took their spouse. Oh, there's no policy one way or the other, so I don't know what happened, but it's just those kinds of individual events that raises questions in my mind. I don't know how else to put it, and I know some people are gonna be really upset with me about it, but it just raises questions.
Well, no, because there are correct ways to do things and there are ways that kind of really pushing the limit.
So you're saying the other two credit cards other than,
There's another one too.
who possesses those cards?
We don't know, so that's why I was gonna send an email to the department heads, asking them if they had a credit card, because there's 3 out there.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna lie about it, you know what I mean?
So does a department head, for example, have an Amazon card and then they buy something on Amazon because it's cheaper?
Right.
And
And then are they carrying a balance and then we're being charged interest? Like, did they budget for that interest? There's so many questions, you know what I mean? So yeah, I wanna know which departments have credit cards, who's carrying what balance? And how are they gonna clear that?
And
We-
get the shipping and everything else.
And we need a
These-
policy.
Yeah,
Because right now, everybody thinks there's one credit card when there's not. The BvAs show otherwise. So we need to find 2 credit cards.
well, are there several credit cards or are there one town credit card and then, other credit cards are being used?
I realize there's convenience factor in all of this, but there needs to be some sort of oversight. And that if you're trying to get through to what my concern is there has not been sufficient oversight. And the pushback on, oh yeah, department heads can move money between accounts as long as it's when they're within their department, right? For transfers. Well, but there are other things, there's another comment in here, oh, if we had to go in front of, the advisory and the select board every time I need to do a transfer. My comment is, how often are you having to do this from year to year to year? And if you're doing it that way, maybe there needs to be a closer look at how much money is put into that particular line item budget during the budgeting process. So.
All right, going forward, I think what I have a problem with is the use of the cards other than the Amex card. I think the Amex card that seems to be pretty tightly controlled.
So do you want me to do that?
So the question, I think perhaps this is the type of issue where we should have a new town manager, town administrator come in and say, look,
Well,
We
when
look
he
at
looks
this-
at it,
this is the problem.
When he gets to it, yeah.
Yeah, do you have a proposal to fix what we feel is the problem? You got $88,000 and, $50,000 or $60,000. There's not even a paper trail. We only know what was bought. We don't know if it was the cheapest item. The lack of a paper trail, that bothers me. That bothers me a lot.
You know why we buy stuff through Amazon? Lots of times you can't get it around here. Part will buy parts. Because
No, there might be.
you would have to traipse high and low to find them.
Do you have
You can get them you can get them in 2 days or the next day.
Somebody also has to pay, so who's Prime, Amazon Prime? account is it?
I don't know. We
And,
have to
and the
find
town
that
is
out.
paying X amount for Amazon Prime, so that doesn't show up as even as a line item,
Yeah,
as,
so,
you know, it's,
Needs
it's
to
all
be-
of those
needs a
things.
lot of work
It's
done.
like $150 a year.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
$30.
It's 100 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so you do that, you know, or are they not doing it and we're getting charged shipping?
Yeah.
Or are we getting charged?
A
shipping
lot
for
to,
other
lot to look
things?
at and find out. You don't know until you find out.
So why don't we find out, first of all, where the three credit cards are? And do we have a policy?
We don't have a
We
policy.
don't have a policy.
No,
Alright.
because see, it's one of
Yeah,
those
we-
things that just kind of grew.
So let's see where the credit cards are first.
Yeah.
And then maybe should we ask those, if I find out where they are, should I ask the department heads to come in and explain to us why they feel as though they need a credit card? And then from there we can
Well, I
get
think
our
that's up
thought.
to the town
I
administrator.
feel
to
that is
decide that
select
kind of
board
stuff.
town administrator.
Yeah.
And maybe,
Give him some time to get
this
on
would
this.
suggest that prior select boards have not.
We maybe need to do our budgeting different. Have our budget versus actual have more information in it. It's because it's kind of something that was small and all of a sudden it's kind of,
Well, should we see where the three cards are first prior
Yeah,
to sending
yeah.
recommendation to the select board?
Yeah.
Alright, I do not have a problem sending that now.
All right.
And when I do that, I'm also gonna do, you don't have anything on here about the audits. I'll send that within the same email because it kind of coincides with one another.
Audits,
Liz and I are doing the audits. So I'm gonna be sending an email to the,
audits of the equipment.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be sending an email to the department heads requesting that they put together a list, a detailed list of what they have.
Right, so you create a digital
Yeah.
list.
Doesn't Roselli, I thought Roselli had a list that with you guys were, no?
They have one. It was,
Out of date.
it was sent to me. There's, I mean, it raised a lot more questions than it answered.
Okay.
And including, there's a section for that, there was playground equipment. Which. you know,
Right. So
that's a good question.
I'm gonna email department heads in regards to credit card.
Yeah, if you combine that with the
Yeah.
physical audit.
Credit cards. And I'll bring this back next meeting.
at least even if it's justifiable, fine.
Right.
If it's not, then we'll work on it and it will make more sense and we'll have more documentation so we know what we're buying.
Okay. So number 14, can we just move that to our next
Yeah.
agenda?
So, wait, it would help if you could send me,
I
what
would.
you're doing if you need help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think we need a motion.
No.
The last item is something that April prepared. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
I had a chance, have all the members had a chance to read through the recommendation to the select board regarding a temporary freeze on spending
Absolutely.
and hiring until the new town administrator lifts it. Has everybody had a chance to read that?
Absolutely.
Jacqueline and
Yes.
Liz, you had a chance to read?
Yep.
I had a chance to read it as well. I I like how you wrote it and I would propose the recommendation as written.
I would second it.
Is that agreeable?
No.
Okay. All right, well, that's why we have a discussion, so.
We have to define, we have to define what do we consider discretionary and non-discretionary expenditures. Because, because we don't really say that,
Okay.
okay?
But we
And,
kind of do.
well, it says essential services, public safety, sanitation, utilities and contraction. Right, but
Exemption. So
yeah,
It does write it out. It does.
Yeah, ongoing contracts and grant. Oh, grant is in the grants. Okay, never mind.
You at number one? Recommendations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stuffed it out.
Right, because I think there's,
What I liked about it is that it's spelling out the need for a freeze, but it's giving a new town administrator and the select board some wiggle room.
yeah,
It's giving everybody a minute, like freeze everything, give everybody a minute to get settled in. Figure things out. And then we move forward.
Yeah.
But I really think that, you know,
I thought you struck a good balance I thought she struck a good balance.
You need to know where we are financially.
yeah, before we keep spending and hiring people, like. We don't know where we're at financially. We
No,
don't
we
know.
don't.
We don't have a clue.
Yeah, you want a baseline.
Right.
This
I do.
creates a baseline.
We've done that too many times.
We need to do a hiring freeze and a spending freeze,
Yep.
like immediately.
so who's approving the discretionary purchases?
The select board.
The select board in conjunction with
The department
the
head.
town administrator.
See, what I found over the years is that we haven't had an administrator that's pulled everyone together. So every department is kind of freewheeling it and they're doing their own thing. So there are times where this town's been really in financial straits. So the minute money comes, it's like a bunch of little kids at a candy store and they say you can have anything you want and everybody grabs. I think a new town administrator hopefully will explain to everybody, this is it. This is what we have and we have to live within our means. And you don't have any of that going on. And I think some of this favoritism, good old boy stuff. Some departments made out good, some departments didn't make out good. And I think that this will give everybody a chance to, he'll know where he is. He can make decisions along with the select board. And nobody's gonna be pulling stuff off on the side. I don't think there's been a lot of communication amongst them as a group.
That's one of the problems of the town government. It's
It doesn't have to be that way. That select board office was. It was like it had a big sign on it saying, stay away.
Honestly, I think that there's been mismanagement of funds
Yeah,
in the past. We all know that. And I think what the department heads are doing, like you said, they're looking out for themselves. They're looking out for their own departments. And to be quite frank, I don't blame them.
no.
You know, if they ask for something, they're turned away. So yes, they've put a cushion in their budget. Who wouldn't?
That's why we always,
Listen, it doesn't make it
blow
right.
away free cash
Absolutely not.
when we shouldn't have done that.
It doesn't make it
No
right. Let them
plans.
stay in
It's
this.
just all that is gonna change.
Just
okay.
Okay,
Let's
can I just ask for one change?
One change.
Because it says non-essential expenditures not included in the current town budget. There,
This is scope of the freeze.
yeah, so with that one phrase that negates this whole thing. Because they'll say, well, it's already in my budget, I'm gonna go spend it.
Yeah, right.
That's what it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want me to take that out of there?
Yes, please.
You want the language, implement a temporary halt on discretionary or non-essential expenditures.
Yes.
Period.
Period.
Not to include.
All right, what you're striking is the language not included in the current.
Right, yeah, not included in the current town budget.
So essential services should continue with minimal disruptions, that can stay.
Yep.
Okay,
All right, so you're
Yeah.
just striking that. I mean, is this clear to everybody what
Yep.
Liz is proposing to strike?
we're just striking that one sentence.
Half a cent.
Sentence.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do that and send it to you to print out and sign? Oh, we all have to sign.
So if I never got this email, I just looked. So if you want to send it to me, I can put it on our letterhead
Okay.
and because I already have like it formatted to do that.
Yeah, we just strike that sentence. Yeah, we just strike that sentence and then we can all sign it, or I can sign it as chairman,
Okay,
wherever the sense of the.
well, it has all of us on there.
It doesn't matter.
We can,
We can delete
I
those.
can bring it places like to for people to sign because there's no place to leave it anymore. Um, or we come to my house. I don't know. I'll drive it around town in my car if you prefer. I don't, doesn't matter.
I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, it's fine.
I can meet you anywhere.
That's fine.
For-
I'm at the library every Monday from like 10 to 12. So
Okay.
I'm pretty.
Why don't you make it up and we'll go to the
That-
library? Well, Liz is working.
I'm working.
I'm
Look
at
at
the
the library,
There's
the guy-
Saturday.
that's
She's
up
at the
to-
soccer field on Saturday.
Okay.
Kids are in different teams.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just make it up on the letterhead.
Yep.
Okay.
So is that agreeable to everybody, April's, language with striking that one
That's a
half?
very good idea.
Okay. I thought it was very well done.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve April's letter.
It's with modifications.
Yes.
So approve with modifications to be on advisory letterhead. And for salt.
Oh,
You got that, Jacqueline?
Yep, Liz made a motion to approve letter as written with modification on advisory letterhead. For each member to sign.
And April, will you second that?
yes, I will second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, there being none, I'll call the roll. Beth?
Yes.
April?
Yes.
Jacqueline?
Yes.
Yes.
And I also vote yes.
Jacqueline, you're right. I did not forward it to you. I forwarded it to Kelsey.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. I was like, oh, and I never got this other email from Noel either.
I did not put it in the agenda, but I would like to offer members a chance to have individual comments.
It was a very, very good meeting. You girls do a good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
April, do you have any comments?
I don't.
Okay, all right. Jacqueline?
No, I just wanted to let you know, I know this was a little chaotic with what's been going on, but if I have the ability now to upload things to the my town government website. And that's gonna be my new role for the time being, so I will just have like a generic sort of list so that it all looks, so that our agendas look uniform. I like things to look, and then you don't have to scramble for your little blurb that you read. I'm trying to keep it just a little less chaotic for
I
everybody.
had it right in front of me and then I was, well.
I got it. That's
Okay,
all.
thank you. Liz, do you have any comment?
Are you sure?
As always,
Bring you back
thank
down.
you for doing all of
You're
this paperwork and all this stuff. It's essential, so thank you. The only other thing I want to say is that, I've been looking at the numbers and some of it may be just lack of my education and understanding. But I truly believe that we all need to look at this round's budgeting coming up with the idea of not just what was it last year, but what parts of it can we make smaller, things that we have to meet certain contractual and statutory, responsibilities. But there's wiggle room in most of the, I'll say, the larger departments' budgets. And I think we should be going through and saying, okay, yeah, you get this amount last year, X amount. This year, you need to try to do X minus a certain percentage or something. Be able to say, what can you cut out of your budget?
Mhm.
And I realize the first thing people are going to say is, I can't. Well,
They can if they think.
no, there may be areas you can. And when the new TA starts, I'm sure this person will have some ideas also, because that's how we need to be looking at the budget. And so that's it.
It's
Thank you.
not Christmas time,
Thank you. All I wanted to say is, Jacqueline, thank you for your hard work preparing minutes. It's greatly appreciated. Liz, thank you for working on the numbers. Greatly appreciated. April, thank you for working on the town administrator search committee. It's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. And Bev, thank you for your comments. That was very helpful. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second it.
Okay,